This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey, it's Lemon's Car Spotting. We're going to go back to the Review 10 Cars, Pick 2 awards. The awards are the hooptiest, self-explanatory, and the Lemons build, which is the car we want to see actually at a Lemons race.
That's right. He's Nick, and I'm Eric, and we are going to do the picking thing where left is the car. The person who chooses the Lemons build, right, is the hooptiest. I will close. No, Nick will close his eyes. Spend a minute and go.
Stop. Did a quick one that time.
All right. So Nick will be choosing the Lemons build. I will be choosing the hooptiest car.
Excellent.
And we go back to our 10 starting now.
All right. And we're off to a good start already. Well, it's a bi-turbo. What is there to say about the bi-turbo? You know, there was a bi-turbo, God, at the first, if not second ever Lemons race. And we've seen maybe 2 or 3 since then, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, this photo was taken in September of 2021. When do you think the last time this car ran was?
God, sometime, some significant time before September of 2021, I would say.
Do you think it ran in this century?
Yeah, I would say yes, because it doesn't look like it's totally covered in mung. Right. I mean, it's clearly at some kind of junkyard. What is on the lift above the Celica? It's like a Bradley or something.
Yeah, what is that? Huh.
Interesting. Well, yeah. So bi-turbo, I don't know too much about them. Weren't they were carbureted, right? But then also were twin turbo. So it's like a twin turbo V6, Weber carburetors and turbochargers.
It is Italian blow-through twin turbo V6 from the 80s. It has everything going against it, which makes it a perfect Lemons car.
You know what's funny is, I mean, all of those ingredients you just listed are just everything you need for a big fire and explosion. I feel like that's not what these were known for. I feel like these were just known for run-of-the-mill stopping running for no reason.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
Yeah, yeah, which is maybe saving you from the fire and explosion.
Yeah.
All right.
Good looking car, though.
Yeah, not bad looking. Oh, it's a Lancer Sportback. Man, you know, see, I mean, all of you watching this channel presumably are automotive enthusiasts and therefore love the station wagon and therefore make up, 0.1% of the automotive buying public. But, one of the things going against the wagon and one of the reasons why they're essentially dead in the US market now is that towards the end, this is what we got. It was like, in Europe, they've got like, oh, there's a Golf R wagon in Europe. That's cool. But then we got this, which is like the crappy base Lancer in a sort of awkward looking wagon form. And even the Golf, like we got like some decontented low horsepower version, and of course nobody was going to buy it. So I mean, if they made an Evo version of this, would people have bought it? Probably also no, but at least they could have tried.
Yeah, I just want to point out the absolute, the whole car looks awkward and it takes you a second to quite figure out why that is.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the 4-foot tall brake and reverse light combination.
Yeah. Now that was a feature on the Volvo 850. And for some reason that kind of worked and this kind of doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the difference between Volvo and Mitsubishi, right?
Yeah,
there.
That's a fair point. God, yeah, I don't know. But going back to the sales thing, I mean, obviously car companies are in the business of selling cars, and that's why we don't get cars that don't sell. But I feel like there are a lot of cars that aren't wagons that also don't sell. And at that point, well, why not make a wagon and make a very small percentage of the population happy? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, because the Outlander is built on technology that existed in 2001, and it's just easier to do that, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably a low investment, higher sales option compared to this.
I would say so.
Well, if you can
It's
find
no
one of these,
Eclipse Cross, I will say that.
oh God, let's not even. People got upset that the Mustang became an electric crossover SUV, but by all accounts, it's a decent enough car. The Eclipse Cross is taking a worse nameplate than the Mustang, putting it into a worse package that's also a crossover SUV, and it's just, I mean, it's the Mitsubishi version of the Mustang Mach-E,
Yeah.
and all that entails. So, all right.
I do believe. Oh no, there it is. Okay.
You're anticipating a Ford Aerostar?
No, there was. I put together these galleries, and there were two people who spotted Lancer Sportbacks like a day apart.
Oh yeah.
Completely
Well,
separate. I think
in
you
order
threw that out,
to
but yeah.
make this thing only accepts the galleries of 10, so I picked the better of the two Sportbacks,
All right.
which
Well,
for the record was this one.
yeah.
So yeah, there was a second one. It got culled in the making of this gallery, which brings us to this very fine, semi-abandoned Explorer Aerostar.
Right.
It's less abandoned than the Lancer, which is parked in overgrown grass. This is like the tires are half deflated.
Yeah.
There is some dirt and such underneath the vehicle, indicating that it hasn't moved in some time.
Right.
But it also looks like it's run maybe in the last 3 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say that's right. This is from Panama also, which is great that these things found their way to Central America.
Yeah. Now, this is the era. So you had your Caravan, you had your Previa, and you had the Aerostar. Aerostar was it more like the Previa, and it sort of had it wasn't mid-engine. It was just, it had it was more like an Econoline full-size van. So not fully mid-engine like the Previa, but the motor is like set back way underneath the cowl.
Yeah, so this and the Chevy Astro were basically configured similarly.
Right.
And I'm sure people in the comments who are super into vans will correct me on all of these things, and they're totally separate and not alike in any way. But I've never gotten a good answer on if the Aerostar has stuff in common with the Ranger or not. I think it was unibody, so I don't think it does, but I've had people tell me that it is. And
it's rear drive and had a V6, so I would assume that those components are probably similar to the Ranger, much in the same way that the Astro is similar to the S10.
Right.
Which is to say it's a decent enough powertrain combination, and I know that it's a thing, aka like probably 4 people have done it, to put a 302 small block into these, which is just, I don't see any flaws with that.
No, none. Especially because these things handle so well. My family had one of these, and my middle sister drew the short straw of having to learn how to drive in an Aerostar, which was not. She's not a big driver, and I think there's probably a correlation somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say it's one of those things that either you overcome the various challenges of poor handling, bad visibility, large size, and just become a really good driver, or you say, yeah, this isn't for me at all in any vehicle. So
interestingly, we've never had one of these in Lemons.
Hey, there you go.
We've had them on rallies, but not in the races.
That's a dwindling list of cars. So bring one of these, put a 5.0 in it. The judges probably won't care. So there you go. All right. Whoa. Speaking of abandoned, now, how much are DeLoreans going for these days? Because I get the impression that much like other things Radwood adjacent, they were very stable and very cheap for a very long time. And then suddenly millennials got a job and drove up the price. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I think it is. I would guess if you wanted one that was running, which is as good a condition as you can buy a DeLorean, is actually operational. You probably can't get one for under 8 and probably more like 15.
Okay.
Which is insane for what they are.
I have mixed feelings. I mean, they are famously underpowered and famously maybe not so reliable. But I mean, nothing from that era is faster than a 2021 Honda Odyssey.
Right.
So it's really all about the eye appeal, and these have a ton of eye appeal. So, I feel like why not get something that looks interesting if you're going to be going slower than an Odyssey anyway?
Yeah.
Kind of my take.
No, there's 1980 was, famously the bottom of the trough for Lemons car performance in general.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a 0 to 60 time of like 9 seconds or whatever it
Yeah.
had was kind of Mustang-ish.
Yeah, totally adequate. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. The tough part about building one of these for Lemons is obviously you can't have scissor doors in Lemons. So you'd have to create some kind of alternative plan for that,
which sadly kind of ruins the appeal.
It does. I know the Bricklin guys made like a hatch door that they could get out of. I don't know if you cut up a DeLorean, somebody actually might murder you.
Although this one looks like it's pretty, like there's something bad happening in the back. Or but behind the door, there's something really weird going on, like it's rotted or crashed or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. The other part is putting a cage in one would be extremely difficult.
Yeah, they're really short.
Lotus. So
Yeah.
there's no floor per se. It's basically an I-beam with a bunch of stuff stuck to it. So
yeah. Now, for the record, the reason why we don't allow gull wing doors in Lemons is because it's spectacularly dangerous, and you get trapped in a burning vehicle when you go upside down, which is totally relevant to the street as well if you're driving one of these. But it's a DeLorean, so I think you got to take that risk.
Have you ever been in one of these, by the way?
I've sat in one. I've never driven one.
Yeah, I haven't driven one either, but I've ridden in one.
Yeah.
And the doors, they must weigh 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, easily. And the struts are always kind of, they probably weren't that great when new, and then they're like really not that good now. So
it's a little unnerving to have 200 pounds hanging over your head as you're getting in the car. It could probably take your leg off. So.
Okay, it's fine. Slam.
Yeah.
So
that's my foot.
That's my foot and side of my face. All right. Let's go forward. Colt Vista.
Yeah.
I don't think we use this password anymore. And in any case, there were other components to it. But for a long time, some of the passwords we used internally for some of our stuff involved the Colt Vista. And it was just really easy to remember because everybody at Lemons loves the Colt Vista.
Yeah. I mean, look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah. I mean, this is we're talking about wagons being extinct earlier. I mean, this isn't really a wagon. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But it was a very distinct, I mean, it's the same as like a Nissan Access, sort of this weird, tall, short wagon niche that really doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, essentially a minivan. This one, God, when was the last time you saw one of these? Boy.
Well, we had an Eagle Summit wagon, which was the successor to this.
Yeah.
But boy, before that, it had probably been 10 years.
Yeah.
I'd seen one not in a junkyard.
Right. Well, even to be in a junkyard, I mean, junkyard turnover is a matter of months. So like if you see one in a junkyard, then that means it was on the road within the last year, most likely, or, in the wild in the last year. Yeah. And I haven't even seen that. You mentioned the Eagle Summit. That was like a roundeder version of this. Like this was the original vision of the design, and then they had to update it for the 90s.
But don't confuse that with the Eagle Vision.
Ah, right. Wait, what did I say?
You said this was the original vision.
Oh,
it's a play on words. So we've now murdered that joke pretty good.
For a second, I thought I said Eagle Vision because now I don't remember what this was called, which now I do. It was the Eagle Summit. Oh man, we're way down the Eagle rabbit hole. We better keep it moving. All right. Let's see. What do we got? It's a Sentra.
Yeah, like a B12, B11
coupe. Yeah. Boy, yeah, these you don't see too many of these.
I don't know if I've ever seen one of these.
My cousin had the one that came after this, which was the one that had no curved surfaces, which I believe was the B12.
Yeah.
And this one, well, it's in a sporty turquoise color, and it's got some aftermarket wheels, and that's about it.
Yep. I mean, there must be about 55 horses powers in there.
Oh yeah, at a maximum.
Yeah.
All right, we were moving on to we've got some Canadian market action from our friend Evan Thor. Can sort of read the caption. Canadian market only Asunya Sunrunner. Now we've talked about Asunya before, and I don't think we came to any conclusions of what was the point, why did they have it, etc. This is obviously a version of the Tracker / Suzuki Sidekick.
Yeah, it's like General Motors and Chrysler in the 80s and 90s had this weird captive import brand, with Geo and with Eagle to bring it back. But I guess the Canadian version was Asunya for GM. I don't know. Bizarre.
This guy put the umlauts over the U when I feel like it probably would be more likely that it would be the little thingy over the N. But I don't know.
It's also General Motors.
Yeah, they might think, oh yeah, that's a Spanish thing, right? Umlauts.
Yeah, hashtag 90s GM logic.
Yeah, that's a good hashtag.
Yeah,
we should make that a thing. If you see a GM car and it is an example of stupid GM thinking, then tag it with 90s GM logic.
Do like the it's got T-tops or a Targa or whatever you call that. But
getting way ahead of ourselves. Sorry. Yeah, it's got that. It looks like the back section is removable, and it's got graphics.
Dang.
All right. Well, I spoiled some of the upcoming. We've got a Subaru GL10 wagon, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think we've had one of these before because my claim to fame or my memory of one of these, a guy in my high school had one at the same time that I had a 4-cylinder 5-speed Volkswagen Quantum wagon. And the Subaru was the only car that Quantum could actually beat in a drag race.
Yeah, I believe that.
So this one looks nice.
As nice as one. I mean, the color's horrendous, but it's very clean.
Yeah,
and the wheels are kind of cool.
I always like these wheels. I mean, if I had a Subaru of this era, these work on Bratz too. It's sort of the Subaru interpretation of that classic white wagon spoke wheels that you would see on like CJ7s and stuff of the time. So
I think cool. All Subarus of this era were basically the same mechanically.
I think that's right. Yeah, a little probably like a 1.6 flat 4. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Penultimate car, which you might have seen flash on the screen a moment ago. It's a Renault Encore.
Man.
Now, we've had this question posed before of what was it an Encore to?
Well, I mean, in a chronological way, it was the Encore to the Le Car, which
I mean, the Encore in a general sense is you're in a band, you've played most of your great songs, you've said thank you Springdon, and you've left. Then you do an encore and you've left the one good song in reserve that people also love. I guess in that context, if your band's music is the Le Car, then the encore does work as an encore.
Right.
So I think that's okay. They had a couple different versions of this, or did we also decide that the Encore is the hatchback version of the Alliance?
I think that is close to right. I mean,
this is where all of the experts in the comments can help us out. The 1987 Renault product lineup for the United States.
I mean, what even was that? This is about the same time that Renault's president got assassinated by allegedly assassinated by the French Renault Union because they were building Renaults in Kenosha, much to the chagrin.
Oh man, not to advocate murder, but I do really like the idea of an automotive union just murdering upper management. Like, I feel like that would work at General Motors and be
It's
good.
not even just that; it's murdering the president over American Motors. Like it is.
Yeah, right.
Man.
Yeah. This cannot stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Viva la France. Okay.
60 horsepower in those things.
Yeah.
On a good day.
Worth pointing out that this was taken at a Cars and Coffee, which is slightly cheating because there's a higher percentage of interesting vehicles there. You got some kind of Mercedes S-Class R32 Skyline in the background. And what is that next to it? It's like a Cutlass Sierra or something.
It's like an 88, like an
Yeah.
Olds 88 or something from the late 80s.
Yeah.
It might be the Buick version of that. They
Yeah.
look identical, but yeah,
This
it's
looks
definitely a GM product.
This looks like New Jersey. Also, is that the One World Trade Center in the background?
I do believe that is the case.
Yeah.
Something on the far right is also of that same era with the squared off headlights there.
Yeah. I think that's a Mercedes.
Is it? Okay.
Which, compared to the other things is, sort of like a real car and thus not worth talking about.
Right.
So let's move forward. Final car. Oh, baby. It's a J2000.
That's right.
The best of the J body, by Lemon standards, I think. I mean, it's the Cavalier, the Cimarron, the Buick Somerset.
No, it's
that's an
Skylark. Skyhawk.
Skyhawk was different.
I think it's the Skyhawk.
See, I think
Skylark was
Skyhawk was like a Monza, right? Or maybe they returned to that nameplate for the.
This is what's great about this era of General Motors is nobody has any idea. I think the Phoenix was the X body, but that's Pontiac.
God,
See,
yeah.
this is it right here.
This is exactly it. I mean, and General Motors, of all of the things to be mad about General Motors, there are many. The product planning and nomenclature and branding and marketing is the thing that sticks the most in my craw because, the reason why it exists, the reason why there's a bunch of useless, unnecessary variations of the same car is, because they are serving at the whim of some guy who owns a dealership in Des Moines, right?
Right.
So, okay, we have to have a Pontiac for that guy. What they should have done is like, all right, we're not doing any of this. Like, it made sense in the 50s and 60s. We're just going to consolidate it all into one brand. Everybody gets the same cars. And then therefore we can have marketing that ordinary people can follow.
Right.
But no, we still have the GMC Acadia and the Chevy Traverse and all of that stuff. And nobody knows what is what. And it's just really frustrating.
Yep. We've never had this, by the way.
Yeah, we've never had one. However, what we have had, a team brought an S13 Nissan 240SX, put this front clip on there. The width was about right, and it made it into a perfect scale model of a Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. It was really incredible. Like, that was an inspired, like, I don't know how they found the parts or came up with that idea, but it was, I mean, yeah, if you have a 240SX, find one of these front ends and put it on there, and you've got a mini Trans Am, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Slam dunk. Yeah, this thing's great. And the Sunbird, they changed the name to the Sunbird at some point.
Yeah.
And then put a turbocharged engine in it that was built by Opel in Brazil. So,
Lord, that might be the second thing to be annoyed with General Motors about. It's international dumpster diving for parts.
Yeah, that and the Buick. It was a 1.8 that made 90 horsepower. You get the naturally aspirated version, and then they put so much boost in it that it made 150.
It seems like that's. I thought you were going to say 110.
No.
I mean, that's a big increase, a big and worrisome increase.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't think I've ever seen one ever.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, that's it. Let's pick some awards. You've got the hooptiest. Go for it.
I mean, this is a pretty easy one, and we talked about the values of these cars, and this one looking particularly valueless. Of course, talking about the DeLorean DMC 12 that is sitting in a tree in the back 40.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty darn hoopty. I considered it for the Lemons build. The door thing is just an issue.
Yeah.
So I can't pick that. Boy, you know, I'm gonna go with the Aerostar.
Yeah.
Because we've never had one. That's always gets you extra points in these matters, and we love minivans. We've had a Windstar, amazingly. We've had a Previa. We've had an Astro. So yeah, this is really the missing piece of the 80s, 90s minivan as road racer. So yeah, like I said, grab one of these. You can probably take some liberties with the setup because we go easier on vehicles like these in BS inspection. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yep. You can store so many parts in that thing too.
That's, you know, we've mentioned that too. Is a car that you can put the spare tires and stuff in the back is really kind of a nice feature.
It is. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. We will see you guys with a fresh batch of 10 next week. Be sure to tag your stuff.
Yep. Tag it Lens Car Spotting. We'll find it. I mean, this one is not possibly worth more than $17. So I think building on a Lemons budget really isn't going to be an issue.
I think the alloys take it up to $20.
Can always sell them off.